Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's session on the Writing Center. Before we get started, if you can hear me, can you please click the hand to raise your hand? Excellent. Okay, most of you. My name is Catherine Carson, and I'll be leading the session today. This is being recorded, so I just ask that you save your questions until the end, and I'll stop the recording at the end and address your questions at that time. You can either, let me just get the chat going here. You can either type your question in the chat window, or you can click the hand to raise your hand when it's time for that. So today's session will take about half an hour, and it's going to cover three things. First, what the Writing Center is and how you can take advantage of the services of the Writing Center. Second, some tips for proofreading your work. And third, some information about the writing process that you might want to keep in mind as you embark on your writing assignments. Some of you may have been at Full Sail for a while now and you're looking for a way to brush up on your writing skills. Some of you may be brand new to Full Sail and are just learning about the Writing Center. So I welcome all of you today. Like I said, my name is Catherine. I am a tutor for the Writing Center, and I'm also a course director in the English department. The Writing Center's coordinator is Misty Woolard, and she is the person that you will typically get an email from when you make a Writing Center appointment. She also conducts appointments, and we also have a staff of student Writing Center consultants. These students have gone through a lot of training in how to be an effective tutor, and they have all gotten really good grades in their writing classes. Some of them are majoring in creative writing, some completely different industries or disciplines, and the thing that they all have in common is they want to help people write better. So we have this workshop that is offered once a month, and we also have an APA workshop, which is offered another time during the month. You can check the Writing Center's page on Connect, which I'll show you in just a minute, to find information on when that will be. That one is about an hour long, and you will earn a GPS point for attending. Unfortunately, you don't get a GPS point for attending the open house, which is what we're doing today. We're working on grammar workshops and a creative writing workshop, so keep your eye on Connect for those in the coming months. All right, so let's get started. The Writing Center is basically a tutoring service, but you don't have to come multiple times. You can just come one time if you want, in which we pair you up with an appropriate tutor for what you're writing, and we help you for any point in the writing process. We help people from any degree program at any point in their Full Sail career. Everything from getting started on an essay to conducting research to writing concisely in a discussion post, formatting APA style, creative writing, including very short stories of 25 words to 2 pages to 10 pages, screenplays, resumes, cover letters, and ESL issues. So we cover plenty of types of writing. The Writing Center is open from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. on campus, Monday through Friday, and we also have online hours offered from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, and those are in the Eastern time zone. All help is provided during appointments. On-campus appointments are offered in Building 4D, which is kind of in the middle of Building 4. It's a big glass-walled building, and these are offered from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. They are up to an hour long, all Writing Center appointments are up to an hour long. We give you an hour, and if it takes 15 minutes, that's fine, but you have the whole hour. And all appointments must be requested at least 24 business hours in advance, no matter what type of appointment you're looking for. So if you want an appointment for 11 a.m. Tuesday, make sure you ask before 11 a.m. Monday. If you want an appointment scheduled for 4 p.m. Monday, you need to ask before 4 p.m. Friday. And the email is not checked from 5 a.m. from 5 p.m. until 9 a.m. the next business day. So just keep that in mind as you schedule your appointments. Online appointments are the most popular type of appointment because, of course, you can do them from just about anywhere. And these are done through GoToMeeting. So for today's presentation, we're using GoToTraining. It's the same company, except that a GoToMeeting is just a couple of people. These may be written, as in using the text box, or they can be verbal. We can't guarantee that it will be a verbal or audio appointment because of how the office might be on that particular day. If the office is really busy and loud, it just doesn't make sense for us to do a verbal appointment. So we even though those are usually more effective than text appointments, and we do prefer to do them verbally, we can't guarantee that it'll be verbal. And again, these must be requested 24 hours in advance. We also offer open hours in the library. You do not need an appointment for these. If you're a campus student, you can just drop right in. Or if you're an online student who happens to live in Winter Park, you're welcome to come in too. The information about when library hours are being offered is on our page on Connect. Next, scheduling an appointment. There are a couple of ways to do this. The first way is to call Full Sail 407-679-0100 and either ask for extension 2340 or just ask for the Writing Center. You can email writingcenter@fullsail.com, and we do recommend this over calling on the telephone because email is more often checked than voicemail is checked. If we're at the desk and we're able to answer the phone immediately, that is great, and we can immediately schedule your appointment. But sometimes you might need to leave a voice message and then we'll schedule your appointment from there. So email works out well. Just go to our page on Connect to figure out what information we need from you. For example, we need to know what you're writing. Are you writing an essay? Are you writing a creative writing piece, a script, a resume? We need to know that so that we can connect you with the appropriate tutor. We also need to know when you're available. So make sure it's 24 hours later than the appointment, than the time you're sending the email. And you can it's best if you request a block of time, like morning, afternoon, or evening on a certain day. And then the last way that you can schedule an appointment is by filling out the form on Connect. So I'm going to show you that right now. To get to our website, all you do is go on to Full Sail Connect, and you can do a quick search for Writing Center. And here you go. So you just scroll down to Appointment Request Form, read everything in red, and begin your form. You must click that you have read all of these policies. Give your name, your Full Sail email address. Appointment type is whether you want it to be on campus or online. Things you need help with, just choose the one that you need the most help with so that we can match you with the appropriate tutor. And then your preferred dates and times. You are asked to select two, but you are not making two appointments. You're just making one appointment with 2 options for days and times. However, you may request up to 2 appointments per week. You would just need to fill out the form 2 times instead of 1 time. And if you would like to schedule an appointment with a particular tutor, you are unable to do that using this form. You would need to email writingcenter@fullsail.com to request a time with a particular person. All right, and while we're on the Writing Center page, let me just go back here. There is some helpful info that you might want to take advantage of. There are files that show you all sorts of cool things. One of my favorites is the visual guide for APA. It's actually a PDF document, and it's very specific about APA formatting. See exactly what you need on the front page, checking out margins, 12-point font, and so forth. So there are handy little documents like that. We have a blog, which is information. Again, it is categorized, just like those FAQ or just like those documents were. We've got grammar, got APA formatting, and these are just really brief, bare bones examples and explanations of grammar issues. We also have videos, so if you want to attend the APA training but you're not available that day, you can watch last month's APA video. You won't get a GPS point for watching the video, only for attending the training, but it's still useful information. So I welcome you to go to the page, explore, and if you have any questions about anything that's on there, you can definitely email us or call us and ask. And the last thing I want to show you on the page is online resources. There are links to the Purdue Online Writing Lab, which I'm going to show you in more detail in a minute, and Project APA, which is a website that was created by one of our English department faculty. And through that website, you get plenty of examples of APA sources. So I'll show you that in a few minutes. Now let's go back to our presentation. So we're moving away from how to make a Writing Center appointment and into some tips for writing. So first of all, proofreading. When you proofread, you read over your assignment several times after you've written it in order to catch any mistakes you can with grammar, punctuation, places where the writing could be stronger in general, places where it could be more concise, less wordy, and so forth. Many students tell us that they have trouble catching their own mistakes, which is why they come to us. They want a second set of eyes on the work, and we're happy to do that. But I do want to give you some tips so that you are ahead of the game. This first tip is kind of counterintuitive, and it is to take a break. So you've been working for a long time, you think you're getting stumped, take a break. But what I do recommend if you do this is to set a timer. Give yourself a specific time that you're going to go back to work. Take a note of where you left off and what you want to accomplish when you come back with your next session so that you aren't sitting there thinking, okay, wait, now where was I? What do I need to do next? If you jot down a note right before you take your break, then you'll know where to pick up when you come back to your work. A break can be as short as 15 minutes or the length of time it takes to make and eat dinner with your family, or it can be putting away the work for the night as long as you make an appointment with yourself to get back to it at a certain time the next day. The next tip is to print it out. Now, I realize that many people are paperless. You might not even have a printer. The Full Sail Library does have printers for you to use. But if you have a printer, print out your work. It makes a huge difference because the brain actually reads things differently from the screen as it does from a sheet of paper. And when you work with an actual piece of paper, it's more tangible. You can touch it. The process is kinesthetic, meaning you're using your muscles, and as you write on the page and highlight things and circle and underline, it helps emphasize some of the issues that you're addressing, and it helps you become better at them. The next step related to printing it out is reading it out loud. Now, you can do this whether you're reading from a paper copy or from your computer. I recommend reading slowly. You might find yourself stumbling over words or thinking, wait, that phrase just doesn't sound quite right. And then you can stop and address it. Reading it backwards is also a tip I see often, and this means that you start with the last sentence of your paper, you read it, make it as perfect as possible, then go to the second to last sentence, then the third to last sentence, and all the way back up to the top of your paper. This tricks your brain into reading it a different way. And last is to check for specific errors. This means that if you have an issue with one part of writing, such as comma splices, which is when you connect two sentences with a comma, then you look at the paper only looking for commas and making sure that they're being used appropriately. Then address your next issue. Say it's spelling. Go through, read out loud. You're more likely to catch spelling errors if you're reading out loud, and write down all of the spelling errors that you see. Then go through looking for shifts in verb tense and so forth. It is tedious, it does take a while, but you'll actually find that you'll kind of zip through it if you're scanning for certain things at a time. And you're more likely to catch them if you're not looking for everything all at once. It will also seem less overwhelming if you just write a list of 3 to 5 things you're going to be looking for, and you're going over your paper one time looking for each thing. So once looking for one thing, another time looking for something else. And then the last part of today's presentation is about writing tips in general. So these are more focused toward writing an essay or a discussion post, papers, as opposed to creative writing. The first step is to make a plan. Set goals for yourself. SMART goals, if you've ever heard that acronym, are goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and timely. So you want to give yourself a time period in which to focus on a particular task and make sure it's something that is measurable, meaning you will know when you have done it. This could be something like, I'm going to sit down and write 250 words on the topic the teacher gave me. That is measurable. You will know when you're done with that. That's the sort of thing I'm talking about. So make a plan. You might at this point do some brainstorming, do some pre-writing, anything, mind mapping, which looks kind of like a spider web, anything that helps get the ideas flowing. Writing is a process, and you can see the 5 stages here. I'm going to go over each stage in a little bit more detail. Writing isn't about just sitting down and having a magical moment and getting it all done in 15 minutes. Writing is about learning about the material and learning about your relationship to the material, learning about yourself as a student and how to become a better student. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you understand the assignment. This means reaching out to your instructor if you have questions. Don't reach out to your classmates because they may think they know the answer to your question, when in reality, they might be wrong. Now, it's fine to reach out to your classmate and say, hey, did this make sense to you? This didn't really make sense to me. Maybe I'll ask the teacher for both of us. That would be fine. But make sure that you're going to a source that is knowledgeable. Read the instructions several times. Give your teacher time to respond to you. So if the assignment is due at 11:59 p.m. Sunday, you probably need to ask before 5 p.m. Friday so that your instructor can get back to you before they go and enjoy their weekend. So make sure you understand it completely, and then decide what steps you need to take in order to start writing. Do you need to go to the library's website and do some research? Do you need to physically go to a library? What do you need to do? And also understand the goal of the assignment. What is your teacher measuring? Are they trying to see how well you find sources and conduct research? Are they trying to see you think critically? What are they measuring of your skills? The next step is to brainstorm. You're probably really familiar with this term, and this is when you do those things I was talking about a minute ago. You write a mind map, you make a table, you draw a picture, or some other representation of your topic in a way that you understand. Nobody else has to see this. Nobody else has to understand it. And one exercise that I enjoyed when I was in college was I would set myself a timer for 5 minutes. And if 5 minutes is too long, do it for 3 minutes. And just write. Do not lift your fingers from the keyboard or make the pen stop moving across the page. Just write on that topic for that time period. And then take a break, go back through it, circle the things that are relevant, get rid of anything that's not, and there you've got something to start with. Keep the good ideas, the ones that fit with the assignment, and save others for later. Maybe this one isn't appropriate for this paper or story, but maybe you can use it in a later assignment. So if you've got good ideas, they just don't all fit right now, save them, save the document so that you can use it again another time if it's appropriate. If your paper requires research, the next step is to do that. So you need to find sources that help support the main ideas that you came up with during your brainstorming session. It's all about how you relate to the research you're doing. So this is the library's page on Connect. You would go to Research Databases, and there are plenty of databases here. The AP Images collection is full of images, pictures. Westar Music is a music site, so that you can use this for the background in a presentation or something like that. Those are a couple of my favorites. I send my students to EBSCOhost to do general research. I guess it logged me out. But in EBSCOhost, you basically search for a certain term or a phrase, and you find lots of papers, hopefully, that have been peer-reviewed and that are scholarly that you can use to learn more about your topic. So that's how you use online research databases. I will give you a word of caution. These databases are not as sensitive or as dependent on algorithms as, say, searching on Google is. You need to give yourself time to try different search terms, different phrases in order to find what you're looking for. You may have to be a little bit creative about your search terms. If you're too specific, you might not have as much success as when you are using just a couple of phrases. Like if you're looking up dialogue in a short story, you're going to be more successful saying dialogue and fiction than if you said dialogue in Ernest Hemingway's Hills Like White Elephants. You might find something on it, but you're going to narrow your search by a lot. by using more words. All right, and then the next step is doing the outline. This is not actually a picture of a formal outline. This is kind of a serious representation of how you might handle a few different topics. A formal outline you've probably seen starts with a Roman numeral, introduction. Your thesis statement would be letter A. What you're going to say about that topic, letter B. Roman numeral 2, first body paragraph. Topic sentence. What's it going to be about? What is your example going to be? Roman numeral 3, topic of the next paragraph, and so forth, all the way until you get to your conclusion. Now, some teachers will have you turn in an outline, in which case it may need to be pretty polished and pretty formal. Otherwise, use the method that works best for you. It's not going to be wrong as long as you can understand it if you aren't required to turn it in and do it in a particular way. The next step is drafting, and this is what many people dread because this is the point at which you have to face the blank page. This may mean that you are writing with a pen on a sheet of paper, or it may mean that you are using Microsoft Word or Google Docs and are actually writing in a Word document. At some point, this needs to happen. So just start writing. Think about everything that you have written down thus far and connect your ideas together. When you do this, make sure you consider your audience carefully. So, who are you writing for? If you're writing a proposal, for example, who are you trying to convince to give you funding? Who are you trying to reach with a documentary or a screenplay? Are you trying to reach an industry professional to have them adopt something like an app that you created? What is the point of what you're doing, the purpose behind it, and who is your audience? Make sure you're writing in a tone that will be effective and appropriate for the audience. For example, a text message to your best friend is probably going to look a lot different than an email to your boss, or a cover letter that would accompany a resume that you're sending in order to get a job, right? The words you choose are very important. And remember that the language used in academic and business writing tends to be a little more formal than what you would use with your friends. You want to address your instructors as professors or Ms. or Mr., whatever they prefer. And you also want to make sure to edit and proofread emails before you send them, and so forth. Even if it seems like a small thing, you're still representing yourself. So you want to put your best foot forward, so to speak. Next, make sure that you write concisely. So after you've drafted, go through and get rid of any weak verbs, leaning on more, well, for lack of a better word, stronger verbs. You want to use words that really get your point across. If you're using 3 words to say what one word could say, stick with the one word that is stronger than the 3. Get rid of adverbs, which are your ly words. Take out really, great, and very if you can. Take out I believe, I think, or in my opinion. We will know that it's what you think or what you are claiming because you're going to be forthright about it in your paper. And don't try to cram too many ideas into one sentence or one paragraph. Try to give one idea per sentence. You can combine sentences to make one clear sentence that gives one idea, but just do this concisely. You can cover one topic per paragraph and then naturally flow from one paragraph into the next. Remember that each paragraph should relate back to your thesis statement. The thesis statement, which appears in the introduction, is the roadmap for your paper. It says, I am going, well, you don't say I am, but the thesis statement states your claim along with your predictors, which are the topics of each of your body paragraphs. So in a 5-paragraph essay, your thesis statement would give 3 predictors. Those would be your 3 body paragraphs. And then you would follow that with a conclusion that restates your thesis and gives the reader the very last impression of what you're trying to say. And there are 2 more steps. The next step is revising. Many people skip this step and they go straight into proofreading and editing. Revising is when you look at what you've written and you adjust ideas, you bring in new research, take out old research, you reshape it. Maybe you move the 3rd paragraph to be the 2nd paragraph. You make big changes, which we call global changes, to your work. Think about whether the thesis statement is valid. Is the flow of ideas logical? Does the structure make sense? Does your research effectively back up your main ideas? Are you using transitions between ideas? Does anything seem out of place, or does anything need to be expanded upon? So once you've covered your big picture revisions, it's time to edit. This is where you use those proofreading skills I talked about a little while ago. This is when you look at grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, word choice, spelling, verbs, etc. And then the very final step is to publish it. This means turning it in. So give yourself time to go through each of these steps in the writing process. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about very briefly is using APA resources. The reason I'm not going to go into a lot of detail is that, like I said, we have a presentation that focuses just on using APA in a variety of ways. But I'm going to lead you to those 2 sources I mentioned earlier, Project APA. This was created with Full Sail students in mind. So basically what you see in this website is examples of APA formatting that have to do with things that Full Sail students would be looking into or using. So you might use a movie as a resource for a paper. If so, you need to cite it. And this would be an example of how to cite it. If you want to use an album, this is how you cite it, and so forth. The Purdue OWL, which stands for Online Writing Lab at Purdue University, is more elaborate and includes a lot more information than Project APA. It's more comprehensive. However, it does take a bit more time to go through. So my suggestion to you is to start with Project APA. And if you don't find what you're looking for there, go to the Purdue OWL. You can find links to both of these on the Writing Center's online resources page, or you can just do a Google search for the Purdue OWL APA, and I promise a link will come up for you. And that about wraps it up. So I am going to stop the recording and I'm going to open up the floor for questions. If you don't have any questions and you're ready to go, then thank you very much for attending today. I hope this has been useful, and I hope that you'll make a Writing Center appointment soon.